Did you know the first candy wasn't even sweet? Keep watching to learn all you can about candy. All right, guys. So today we're gonna be learning about candy in the spirit of Halloween, right? It's a very important part of it. So the first instance of modern candy was really in the Middle Ages in Europe, and this, marked the addition of sugar into Europe, which prompted people to start, candying fruit and making the first candies. So let's go back a little bit. That was a nice intro, but cacao, which is how they make chocolate, was discovered, thousands of years ago, but it wasn't processed for a long time. And this is the base of chocolate from a fruit tree called cacao. The first chocolate bars came way after, that's what I said, well, even after the Middle Ages in Europe. But they took this cacao, which is actually very bitter, and they extracted it and made it into chocolate, right? And then mass production really came along with the Industrial Revolution. So before the Industrial Revolution, we had a little bit of chocolate production, but not a ton. Obviously, Industrial Revolution allows us to build factories and, create tons and tons of candy. Along this journey, we really started off with bitter, things didn't taste as good. Like I said before, the cacao, think about that, was bitter. It's bitter. It is bitter before it's extracted and turned into chocolate for, the addition of tons of sugar, right? So that's why I said before, the first candies really weren't sweet. They just had a bitter taste to them. But nowadays, we've transformed. Pretty much everything has tons of sugar. Everything's super sweet. And now we see millions of types of different candy, right? And I think the four most important candies really come across here. It's Hershey's. Obviously, everyone's heard of Hershey's. That's the biggest chocolate producer, chocolate consumed around the world, right? And this really came to be in 1900 in America. Another big one is jelly beans. This is 20th century, the same time period, but it's a very different, right? It's not chocolate, it's fruity. Tootsie Rolls were 1896, so a little before Hershey's, which I thought was interesting because Hershey's are obviously a lot bigger now. And Mars bars, 1932, they have fallen off, but they're still a very big part, right? So these four really show us the timeline where we're going and how we got here, right? So, think 1900 for modern candy. Nowadays, candy gets made into everything. We have crazy flavors. We have pickle flavor candy, anything you could possibly imagine. But now we're kind of turning to a healthier option. People trying to make zero sugar substitutes and 0 calorie substitutes. And this is a very interesting turn because, like I said, we started off bitter. Obviously, we didn't have sugar in Europe and other places for a majority of the time humans have been around, right? So candies didn't have the same negative health effects because the sugar really adds to the addictiveness and adds to, the degradation of teeth and degradation of health, right? But nowadays, people are looking for much more high protein diets. Candy's not really seen as much of a delicacy anymore because it's so easy to produce and it's so cheap and easy to, get, right? So now you can see the change in appetite is really gone towards, okay, I want something sweet, but I don't want it to negatively affect my health. And I might even pay a little more for it. 100 years ago, people just wanted as much candy as possible and they didn't want to pay a ton of money. So, companies like Hershey would make tons and tons of candy and people would love it. And it was a big thing around holidays because it really was a specialty. It was, a gift per se. So Christmas, Halloween, kids would get candy, people would get candy, and it was really a delicacy. Now people all over the world eat candy. It's not just a European tradition. It's not just an American tradition. And it really does bring people together. Everyone loves sweet, delicious food, right? And candies, you can't get much sweeter than candy. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned a lot about candy. I thought it was interesting that candy wasn't always sweet. We started off bitter, but don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below what your favorite candy is. And if you were surprised that candy wasn't always sweet.